Lynne, thanks for joining us. The RSPCA has had a fairly big 12 months.
Yes.
One issue in particular has been the live trade of cattle. What is the position of the RSPCA on that?
Well, the RSPCA has had a long-standing position that it opposes live export on the grounds that the animal welfare component just doesn't exist.
What is your direction as the President for the RSPCA? Where do you want to see it in the next 12 months?
If we considered it from sort of 12 months to 5 years in terms of our strategy, we'd very much like to engage the public in really bringing them on board with how to choose products from the supermarket when they're buying their goods to take home to the family. We have an accredited food process and we have RSPCA labelling. We're trying to roll that out across the country.
It is a national organisation. How many members do you currently have, and sort of what kind of people these days get behind the RSPCA?
Well, it's very important actually to recognise that the RSPCA represents mainstream Australia. So, middle of the road, the general public, the average person in the street, and those are the people that we engage with. So we have members and we have supporters, and between the two we're really represented very highly. So 65% of the population is on board with the RSPCA in some way.
It's not all about cats and dogs. We are talking all animals, great and small. That's the line, isn't it?
It is, for all creatures great and small. So you can imagine, Nick, that is a very big brief.
Yeah.
All creatures great and small, and where does that leave the RSPCA? In terms of what creatures we support, you mentioned dogs and cats. The public is more in tune every day to day in their daily lives with companion animals. So companion animals is where dogs and cats fit, dogs, cats, birds. Well, mine's a very funny story actually. Aside of that, if you think about intensive farming, so on animals that are used in production for food, the RSPCA plays a very big role there in working with producers, government, working with industry to further the cause of animal welfare within those production farming role.
What motivated you to get involved with the RSPCA?
Well, mine's a very funny story actually. We'd moved to Australia in 1985 and there was quite a series of very nasty looking complaints on the television. There was one particular case against some dogs, and I got so upset in my kitchen. I said some very nasty words to the television and started to point. Why doesn't somebody do something? And my husband got really annoyed and he said, look, are you going to serve me my dinner or what here? He said, or are you going to shout at the television? He said, if you really feel that strongly, could you please go out and do something about it? So I thought, right. So I phoned the RSPCA, but what I didn't realise in WA at the time, it was a very small operation with very limited funds and very limited coverage. So I set about, joining and trying to help in the shelter. Well, there was no shelter, but trying to help with the volunteer side of it. And very soon it became obvious that I had other skills that we could use, and basically I've gone from there.
Lynne, what do you love about Perth?
I think it's a very exciting environment here, and certainly coming from Europe, it's what I call a lot more civilised in terms of the culture is a little bit more laid back. Believe it or not, I believe we work harder in WA than we do in say Europe. But it's very much then, at least when you do relax, you can go out and get fresh air and you can go and look and do other things that really don't belong to an office environment.